This video is my way of saying thank you to video games and anime for saving my mental health from an environment that almost destroyed it. I will tell a tale about my life, my family, their story, and how everything turned out the way it did. I believe people don't born evil, they become evil because of their circumstances and environment. At least that's what I want to believe in. My mother and father. So, at first couple of years together, they were happy with each other. They married, and shortly after their marriage, they had 3 children, 2 sons and 1 daughter. Father would beat up his children if they would were to misbehave, and my mother was not allowed to work for reasons I am unaware. My mother is not a cripple, and she wanted to work, so I have no clue why he was stopping her. I don't know how wealthy my family was before my siblings were born, but what I do know is that they were very poor after they were born. My mother wasn't able to divorce because if she would try, then she would have lost everything, because she owned and had nothing in the eyes of the law of my country. I was born later, after 17 years of my youngest sibling's birth. According to information of my mother, I am indeed my father's daughter, so she didn't cheat with anyone. Pretty sure I was born accidentally, but whatever. When I was a kid, my siblings often played some video games on Dandy and PC. I watched them play a lot, and that's how I got introduced to video games. If my memory serves me right, I haven't really played anything. I just watched them play and it was pretty fun. When I turned 5 years old, my mother tried to escape from my father. Even though he tried to find us, he eventually gave up and let us go. I think when I was 7 or 8, my family actually allowed me to play video games on the laptop. I couldn't play for more than 3 hours because they didn't allow me to play more. For me at that time, there was nothing more interesting than gaming. I played Flash games, Half-Life 2, Need for Speed Most Wanted, Wood Hot Pursuit, Far Cry 3, The Walking Dead, and many other games. The laptop I used was pretty weak, and it wasn't meant for gaming, so I could play only old games. Nevertheless, I had a lot of fun playing almost anything really. For me, it was a perfect way to escape reality, relieve my stress, and actually have fun in life. My sister introduced me to anime, and I've watched quite a few titles. Naruto, One Piece, Berserk, Bleach, Code Geass, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, Legend of the Galactic Heroes, and others. In my opinion, I actually was raised while watching them. They taught me a lot, like how kind people look like, what is considered evil, what is considered good, how you should treat other people, how to be kind, how to acknowledge your mistakes, and many other things. I don't consider myself to be a good person, but at the same time, I don't hate myself. I did some wrong things, and I did some good things. I have regrets, and I live with them. Anime gave me such a wide variety of emotions, so many good and sometimes sad memories, that they have actually became one of my main reasons to live. Anyway, because even though my family escaped from my father, they are all broken mentally. My mother will never prioritize my opinion over my siblings. She never tries to understand me, and she just treats me like livestock that needs to be fed and sheltered. In her mind, providing shelter, food, education, and clothing to her children is all that her children want and need from her. But honestly, I couldn't care less about nice clothing, good food, or presents. What I want is her attention. I want her to try and understand me. Now, though, she is nothing more than a person who gave birth to me. I see her as a stranger that I happen to live with. My oldest brother is my mother's favorite child. He always tells me to never argue with my mother. Always listen to what my elders have to say. My opinion doesn't matter. I just have to listen and obey to other people. When he became an adult, he started smoking and drinking. I watched how he rotted with my very own eyes. Whenever I remember him, I always see an image of him coming back from work, drunk, and sleeping in my bed, sobbing, farting, listening to music on full volume, watching TV, and if I say anything, he'll go off rails and start beating me and accusing me of anything he could think of. He is also extremely envious of anyone who receives money from my mother, and he'll openly talk about it, to try and humiliate that person. As for my other brother, he is completely broken because of my father. He got beaten up by him the most from his behaving. So he became just like him, and he beat me up for anything he didn't like. Empathy, kindness, being grateful, generosity, opinions of other people. He doesn't have those words in his vocabulary. I became his toy, which he used however he wanted to. With one exception, I wasn't used physically by any of them, at least. Finally, my sister, who I hate just as much as any of my other siblings. I am her puppet, her dog, that should follow her wherever she wants to. I cried each time my hair was cut, but she couldn't care less about it. It's almost as if she enjoyed my suffering. When we played badminton, she would get pissed at me if I played poorly and shouted at me as loud as she could. We played in park near residential apartments, so basically an entire street could hear her. One memory that I have about her, which I will never forget, is when she was running behind me and I let go of a ball in my hands. I assumed she would catch it, but instead it landed on her face. There were no bruises on her head. Her nose wasn't broken. But it still wasn't pleasant for you to get hit in your face by a ball. I understand. I apologized, but for her, my apologies meant nothing. So she shouted as hard as she could that she is leaving me on the street. I can't go home. I was around 10 years old during that time. I couldn't believe it, and I tried to follow her. But whenever I got close, she would yell at me to stay away. Eventually, she did let me in, fortunately. On the next day, she acted as if nothing happened. That acted as if nothing happened applies to my family each time there was some argument. Everyone is constantly acting as if nothing happened. Day after day, I had to sleep in one room, play in one room, eat in one room, live in one room, study in one room, cry in one room with those people. This saddened me to no end. I had to mask my feelings time after time, day after day, year after year. Right, I forgot to mention. Because my family is poor, we lived in one room. I never had my own room until I turned 16 and finally got one. For me, school was one of the most boring and horrible places in which I had to go. In my country, teachers get paid very little and have to work a lot. So try to guess, how will they release their frustrations onto? Children, of course. Even if you are studying well, but forgot something and teacher caught you, then if they have that mood, they'll not hesitate to mock you in front of the class for 13 minutes straight, as well as shout, tell that you are stupid, that you are just a weakling who is worth nothing. They want so desperately to release their frustrations and to boost their ego that they value children's mental health as a teacher, which they can use in whatever way they want to. Because you are a child, you don't have authority or power to stop anything. You just tremble in fear and watch people the same age as you die inside, literally. Teachers like that fact more than anything. They have the power while you don't. Of course, there are some teachers who try to do their job properly. But the problem is that kids are already traumatized. They sense teachers' weakness of being kind, so they start doing whatever they want to. Talk loudly and don't pay any attention to their teacher. It's just so painful to look at and be part of that entire thing. School tries its best to waste your time as worthlessly as possible. They couldn't care less about what you actually know about life. They just want to contain you in their sort of prison for 11 years of your life and get some money from your parents. I believe people do not born evil. They become evil because of their environment. Even though I can understand why my siblings became like that, the same applies to my father and mother, yet I just can't forgive them. I tried many times too, but each time I tried, they made me hate them even more. Now I hate them from the bottom of my heart, and given the chance, I have lived to never see them again. Video games and anime helped me to go through this hard period of my life. I'm very grateful to them, and because of that, I want to review and share my experiences on both games and anime that had a huge impact on me in the past. That's pretty much shall be the goal on this channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!